funding from the United States. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Juan Gonzalez. Rwanda is facing explosive allegations from the United Nations of committing war crimes and possibly even genocide in the Democratic Republic of Congo. A leaked report from the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights says that after the 1994 genocide in Rwanda, Tutsi-led Rwandan troops and their rebel allies killed tens of thousands of members of the Hutu ethnic group inside the Congo. A draft of the report states, quote, the majority of the victims were children, women, elderly people, and the sick, who were often undernourished and posed no threat to the attacking forces. The report goes on to say the crimes committed by Rwandan forces amount to crimes against humanity, war crimes, or even genocide. Rwanda has long claimed it attacked Hutu camps in eastern Congo to pursue those responsible for the killings of over 800,000 Tutsis in the Rwandan genocide. But the report marks the first time the UN has accused Rwandan forces of deliberately attacking the tens of thousands of Hutu civilians who also had fled. The report provides a stark challenge to the conventional history of the period following the Rwandan genocide and the violence in the eastern Congo, which has been the deadliest armed conflict since the Second World War. The U.S.-backed Rwandan government has dismissed the report and has threatened to withdraw from UN peacekeeping missions if it's published. There has been speculation the report was leaked to preempt a Rwandan government campaign to alter its findings before its expected release next month. Peter Erlander is a lawyer at the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda and a past president of the National Lawyers Guild. Earlier this year, he was jailed in Rwanda for 3 weeks after arriving to help with the legal defense of Rwandan opposition leader Victoire Ingabire. Peter Erlander joins us now from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Welcome to Democracy Now!, Peter.
Good morning.
Well, tell us first about the impact of this report and the continuing press revelations about a report still to be released.
Well, the report's very important, of course, because it's getting traction, but it's not the first time that this information has been made public. In fact, the reason I was arrested is because I introduced evidence at the UN tribunal explaining that the Rwandan government was committing genocide in Rwanda in 1994. And in fact, I have UN documents that I put into the record in the Rwanda tribunal showing that on September 19th, 1994, there was a meeting in Nairobi involving Kofi Annan in which the subject of the meeting was a report that the RPF had committed genocide against Tutsis in Rwanda during July and August 1994, and that report was suppressed. That report was also given to Warren Christopher in mid-September 1994, and the documents are available for anyone to see on my website, www.rwandadocumentsproject.net. And it's those documents that got me arrested in Rwanda because I'm accused of being a genocide denier because I put those documents up years ago. And right now, it's quite clear that the UN has been watching that as well.
And in terms of the reality that this is really a re-examination of the whole narrative that has developed in the past decades over what happened in Rwanda and Eastern Congo. Could you talk about that narrative and how it developed?
Yeah, it's very important to talk about that. Because of the disclosure principles in the Rwanda tribunal, it was possible for me to get access to the original UN files that explained what UN personnel were reporting about what was going on during the genocide, or what we call the genocide. We have to remember that it was the victors in the Rwanda war, and it was a 4-year war of aggression, not just the last 90 days that were important, but the victors in the war told the story of what happened during the war. And as we remember from that famous documentary, The Fog of War, Robert McNamara told us that had the Japanese won the war, he and the other planners of the napalm bombing of Tokyo would have been the war criminals. This is an old story. The victors told the story of the war. The story they told was that the vanquished side had long planned a genocide. And in fact, the records in the UN files show that that was not true. And my client was acquitted of planning and long-term conspiracy to commit genocide. And the other narrative is actually written already in the brief that we filed in the ICTR in 2006. And I'd be happy to suggest that anyone could read that, as well as looking at the documents that we filed in court 3 years ago that explain that actually the planning was part of the military strategy of the RPF to take advantage of massive killings of civilians that they knew would happen once they assassinated the two presidents, Habyarimana and Ntaryamira, which is really what triggered off the massive killings. And I could explain that more, but the whole narrative is going to have to change now.
Well, President Kagame of Rwanda has long claimed that he helped to end the genocide. What is his role, and what do you see that these documents indicate in terms of